Welcome to Stone Cottage Adventures. Today I'm going to be working on the corner cabinet and a couple of other tabletops here in the living room. I won't say that I will have completely finished the living room by the end of this, but we'll have made good progress with it. And since this is the first room you walk into when you walk in the front door, I always like to make it really a fun room. Anyway, this is the corner cabinet that my sister-in-law picked up probably around in the early 1980s at a garage sale. It had been pulled out of a home probably built in the early 50s. It had been a little built-in cabinet, and they pulled it out and she used it, and then when she didn't want it anymore, she probably paid $25 for it or something. And when she was finished with it, she passed it on to me, and I've painted it a couple of different times. And it is a really terrific piece because it fits in a corner. So what more could you want? Anyway, so today I always leave the mirror in the back here because it just adds a little something to the cabinet, since it has that really deep back shelf because of the corner little pie shape. And I have started off by putting on some garland with some lights. Now, these are the cheapest garlands you can find. I can just about guarantee you can pick them up in thrift stores. Now, what makes this one look not quite as cheap is this is doubled, and that's my recommendation, is to double your garland. You can either put two cheap ones together or one cheap one and one nicer one together. Now, that's what they do with the fancy trees. They use this kind of papery needles, and then they put the good needles on it too. So let's start with that. My theme is vintage and sparkly. So the lights add some sparkle, but I think I'm going to add some of that ribbon that we've been using, and let's take it from there. So I'm wanting this to echo the Christmas tree, which of course is just right over here. So I want the same ribbons and the same feel. So, wonder why that's flashing. I think I'm going to start with something a little different. I happen to have two loops, they're probably about 6 feet long each, of these crystal and gold beads that had belonged to my grandmother. So they're probably from the 60s or something like that would be my guess. And I'm going to start by putting those on and then add ribbons like I have on the tree. So let's see what that does. So what I have done is I have taken my gold ribbon and I have made one loop with a small tail and then a long tail, and attached that, kind of weaving it back and forth. And I've just attached it by twisting one of the little bows along there. But I think I'm gonna add a little bit more so I look a little more glam. I think that looks fun on the top, little extra sparkle there. Now I'm going to start adding some pieces that I really enjoy. First thing I'm going to add is one of the little retro ceramic Christmas trees with the lights on it that you can find anywhere. They're making them new again, but this one actually was from the 60s. And I have put it inside a silver-edged dish that was, again, very vintage. Has a little starburst in the center. It's an Italian glass with a silver edge on it that I recall it being used as an ashtray. It was the 50s, and everybody smoked, and it had to be elegant. And they're also marketing it now. You can find them online on Etsy and eBay and that sort of thing. And they are marketing now as like a trinket dish. But mine's going to go on the Christmas tree, and I'm thinking about what I did in my china cabinet. I think a silver tray in there doubles the reflection. That's kind of fun. I think I like that. Now, another retro thing. White, I'm sorry, 1960s. I remember this from being a very young child. I thought it was the most beautiful Santa ever. And my grandparents had one, and my parents, and they bought one for my parents too. It was sparkly white when it was new, and now it's kind of yellowing a little bit. But again, this is something you can find online sometimes, or maybe your family has something fun like that. I don't know how they managed it, but Santa always stands up. Now I see him looking a little bit to the left. I'll have to twist him a little bit when I get over there. But what Santa needs, he needs a dog. I'll give you a little close-up of that a little bit later on, but I thought that little dog looked exactly perfect, and it was a gift from a friend. My parents had a dog named Barkley that looked just like that. Now we've got Santa a pack. Again, something I picked up in a thrift store several years ago. It's a Fitz and Floyd piece. They're very distinctive looking, maybe from the 70s or the 80s. I wonder if it didn't have a lid on it to begin with, but there was no lid. That's probably why they gave it to the thrift store. And I like to go out and buy candy canes and put candy canes, because whenever you went to see Santa Claus, didn't he always give you a candy cane? And I give those to my grandchildren when they come. Now for a little extra touch. Okay, so there's a little greenery with Santa, and now let's work a little more on that middle shelf. Got some books there. Not sure about that. I think I prefer the books down low. So we'll go books down low. Another Fitz and Floyd thrift store find. Their little painted plate. Those are not lit, but those are some candles that I bought 11 years ago for my son's mantle. And I'll replace them with something else, but they're glittery and red. I thought they'd be really good in my house this year, so I'm trading some Christmas decorations with him. Now, I have a temptation to put little ornaments around the tree that look like presents for children, but the dusting of that would be an absolute bear. So I'm going to pass on that, and I think I'm going to stick to some greenery, because this is something I can actually keep dusted. Greenery helps, but it's gotten dark since I started this, and I think we definitely need some more light inside here, so I'm going to work on adding a little light to this. There. I have an electric candle back behind the plate, and I did put two little votive candles in the sparkly red candle holders. I'll check the temperature. I can always get a little electric votive to put in there, but I don't want to burn the top of my cabinet. That wouldn't be fun. Anyway, that's looking pretty festive to me. So I'm going to show you this. My light's not real good here for showing you that, but I'll show you in the close-up what this looks like. I think I better give you a close-up right now. Okay, this necklace I was always fascinated by as a child. So as a very young child, in the late 1950s, I remember seeing this in my grandmother's jewelry box, and it was broken. But I thought that was the most amazing necklace ever. And I think it is definitely working for Diana. But she needs a little more light on this side. There. Crystal candlestick holder. And that lights up her necklace a little bit more. Oh. This wick is going to take a minute to start perking up. And we need to perk up that candlestick holder. Okay, so here we go with this little table right here. I have moved over the skater. It's just a little print that I picked up for next to nothing at a thrift store, but I liked that. And I have put a couple of little Christmas books, you know, those little Christmas books that they sell at card stores. A couple of those under one red and one green to raise up the candle. And there's that piece. Okay, the last little thing I did was this tiny table here. I have these 3 stained glass Christmas trees. They're 3-dimensional that my father made years ago. He made stained glass, and he would always make people, all of his friends, something for Christmas. And I ended up with these 3 that are different heights. The little one has lost his little red jewel on top, and I don't know where it is, but anyway, it still looks pretty. Rather than having a lot of clutter on the table, I group them in the tray, and believe it or not, I am out of silver trays except for one that's really large. So I have put our collection in here in a little footed square tray that I picked up at my favorite shopping place, a thrift store. It's not very glitzy. If I were really together, I would have gone down and gotten some gilding wax and put a little wax on it to make it sparkle, but I haven't done that. But I simply set them down in the tray, added some moss, a little pine cone, and some red berries. Again, I always like to think of how can I keep this dusted. So I can keep my table dusted. Now in the back I do have a little silver compote, and of course something delicious and tasty will go on there, or I might possibly do a little arrangement. My son's holly bush has a zillion berries on it, and I don't want to do things right now because I'll have to redo them because it's not even December yet, and my family's not coming until the 26th of December, and I want things to be fresh, so I'll do that later on. And the same thing is true for this little coffee table. I will be doing a fresh arrangement, and I will share that with you when I do it, how I do it, and what I use on it. But I'm not going to do it for now. In the meantime, I have kept, this is a leather tooled cover with some gilding on it, which I think is very pretty, very antique, and it's definitely falling apart, but it's very beautiful, and I've just set a little silver covered dish on the top of that. Now, let's take a look around the room. Now I will take you on a little close-up of everything that we've done. case you're wondering why the little love seat is so askew, well, it's to make room for the Christmas tree. And the chair is, again, pulled out, not where I would normally keep it, but you know, that's what happens at Christmas time. Things get moved around, and you can see in the corner there, Christmas presents have already started arriving, so I'm going to wrap those and put them under the tree using the same ribbon on the presents that I've used around the room. Thank you for joining us. I hope your holiday season is going well, and I hope to see you again. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for coming along, and we'll see you next time.